Robert Haley stars as Charlie McMahon in A Walk on the Water.
Old times and good friends.
And an excellent single malt, thank you very much.
It's the least I can do. Thanks to you, my appointment as deputy chief is right around the corner.
Really?
Come on, Charlie. Know what the chief calls me? The peacemaker.
So I guess I'm the rainmaker, huh? Maybe you should buy me a case of this stuff.
Maybe I should. S.I. McPhee. Hi, Jim. How's it going? What? You're kidding. There'll be hell to pay. All right. What do you want me to do? Okay, I'm on it. They just found a frozen corpse down on Cherry Beach. The chief wants me to haul in Cliff Stark for questioning.
Haul in the president of the police union?
That's right.
What's the charge?
Who knows? But there's a link to the corpse, and it looks like murder.
Try a walk in the lake, or a walk on water.
A walk in the lake?
It's a beat cop thing. Right, Jolene?
Used to be, back in the dark ages.
Used to be pretty effective. Low-end intelligence gathering. Individual crowd control.
Curiouser and curiouser.
Back in the old days, somebody on the street was getting out of hand. He'd get tossed in a squad car, taken for a ride.
Scary. Where to?
Cherry Beach. And it was supposed to be scary.
You take a guy down there, middle of the night, and pump him for information. Or tell him he's got to mind his manners. And to make sure he got the message, you'd make him try and walk on water.
And he'd end up in the lake.
Soaking wet, but uninjured. Harmless, really.
And totally illegal. Here's the report you're looking for. Cliff and a couple of other cops investigated in 1992 for an alleged assault on one Brian Hughes. According to Hughes, he didn't want to walk on water, so the officers wailed on him for a bit, then threw him in.
Ugly.
For everybody involved.
This is great. Embassy Hotel Tavern. The Embassy Tavern was the seediest gin mill on Gerrard Street East.
Just do me a favor, okay? When we go in there, don't act like an overactive puppy.
Puppy.
Cliff?
Charlie?
What the hell are you doing here?
I'm covering my ass. The chief's not gonna take me down. Not now, not ever.
Why are you so sure the chief's out to get you?
Are you working this case or not?
Actually, none of us are working. I mean, technically. Just having a drink, right? But as a new guy on the force, I still don't get this thing between you and the chief.
Well, long ago and far away.
There you go, gentlemen.
Thanks, Jimmy. I'll take another when you get a chance. Where was I?
Long ago and far away?
Right. The night I taught Brian Hughes to walk on water. You know how that works, kid?
I read the stories in the Star.
No, not the BS. How it works. And it did work. Like a charm. For a century. Most guys used to take the walk weren't real hoods. They were like Brian. A small-timer who was a pain in the ass. Brian? Ugh, he was a brawler. Always getting drunk, starting fights, hurting people.
I gotcha. Patrolman's special joy.
Yeah. You make a guy like that walk on water, it gives him a wet warning. Doesn't cost the system an arm and a leg. And Charlie here, well, maybe he's going to play holier than thou, but he knows I'm right.
I never said different.
Yeah, but you think it. It was effective policing for 100 years, and nobody ever had a thing to say about it. Until Brian. And we all denied his story. Our word against a local alky. The case was going nowhere. Until Mitchell poked his nose in.
Chief Mitchell?
Yeah, he wasn't chief then, just a puffed-up deputy chief looking to make some points on the backs of some beat cops.
What did he do?
My dad was in the hospital. Heart. You can imagine how chewed up he was. My name all over the papers. So I told him all about it. Just the two of us alone in his room.
Yeah? It help?
Some. A couple of months later, he's gone. I'm at the public hearing into the charges, and out comes this tape. That SOB had my father's hospital room wired. There I am on tape, spilling my guts to my dying father.
That's cold.
I'll never let them treat another cop that way again. Another round.
I'm fine.
Yeah, you're right. I should hang it up, too.
No. This one's on us. You want another, don't you, Malk?
Me? Sure.
That's two, Jimmy. So, that's how the war between you and the chief started.
Yeah. After my suspension, I got active in the union, which makes them even more anxious to destroy my career.
And that's why you got dragged into this?
It's nuts. Okay, 10 years ago, I snatched Brian Hughes off the street and threw him in the lake. It was mid-August, for God's sake. The other night, it was 5 below. No way.
Then where were you when it happened?
Well, you tell me. When did it happen? Hell, I don't know. Me and the wife had a fight. I was out driving around. I got no alibi. So I gotta trace Brian's steps, solve this myself if I can.
What have you learned?
Not much. Jimmy! Yeah, tell him what you told me.
Yeah, sure, Cliff. Brian came in around 10, pretty drunk. He had a few more, made some noise, staggered out, maybe 12:50.
Anybody in here at the time?
Regulars, but nobody would have paid attention to Brian. He's a fixture. You want anything else?
Why not? Soda for me, 2 more of the same, and something for yourself.
Taxi!
These two guys are the best 2 cops in the entire east end of Toronto. You know that, Jimmy.
Like you said inside.
The best.
Yeah.
You trust them with my life.
Taxi!
Oh, screw that. One more round.
No, last call was an hour ago, Cliff. I already locked up.
I got one. Come on, Cliff.
Charlie, they wouldn't have even come up if it wasn't for me going after the chief. You see that, don't you?
Sure I do.
I had you all wrong. You're good people. He's good people, Jimmy.
Sure he is.
I trust this guy with my life. You know why? Only damn thing you care about is the truth. No hidden agendas, right, wrong?
Put me righter.
Okay,
Go home and sleep it off.
I'm gonna go now. I'm going.
Man, he's a wreck.
That's all this stuff with Brian. It got to him, big time.
Yeah. What do you make of it?
Well, a lot of guys had better reasons to kill Brian.
Like who?
You give me that run home, and I'll tell you all about Brian.
A hell of a night to be out without a ride.
Yeah. And to top off a perfect week, my car got stolen. Neighborhood's going to hell.
So, Brian Hughes?
How to put this delicately? Brian Hughes was a miserable punk who made every life he touched just a little worse. Rarely a night would go by in a bar he didn't start some kind of a brawl.
How come you didn't kick him out?
One time I did. You see this scar on my arm? Brian came at me with a broken glass. I had a few myself that night. Kind of lost it. Took him out back, cleaned his clock.
And?
Well, next day a lawyer shows up, threatens to sue the owner and me for assault. Brian was going to get our license pulled.
What, so, like, he had a case?
Well, you can eject somebody, but if you so much as give them a push outside the bar, yeah, they got a case. And I did way more than give him a shove.
What happened?
My old boss paid him off with a fleabag room upstairs in the hotel, so brawling Brian becomes part of my life permanently.
From the crime scene photos, looks like he took a good beating the night he died.
Yeah. Cliff gave a bit better than he got, huh?
Cliff?
Cliff and Brian had a fight? That night?
I thought you knew.
Why'd you think that?
I mean, you've been drinking with him all night. All night long you've been talking about Cliff was framed and all. He said he trusted you. Oh, this sucks. I'm loyal to my friends.
So Cliff and Brian had a fight that night.
They had words. Cliff left. Brian went after him. 10 minutes later, Brian comes in with a bloody nose, bragging he showed that cop a thing or two.
Anybody see it? The fight, I mean?
If anybody did see it, I think they would have said. And it definitely wasn't a topic of conversation after Brian died.
Maine and Danforth.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah. Well, look, about Cliff, anybody asks, I never saw no fight, right? See ya.
Well, I guess we should pay those guests upstairs at the embassy a little visit, eh?
At 2 a.m.
I'm ready if you are.
Malcolm, you're drunk. I'm going to take you home, and tomorrow afternoon, once you're over the worst of your hangover, we'll do some interviews.
Hey, I'm not drunk.
Don't get defensive. I was the guy buying, remember? I needed somebody to keep pace with Stark, because I needed to be sober enough to lead the conversation.
You got me drunk on purpose.
Hey, even a rookie has his uses.
Who in the hell are you?
I'm Charlie. This is Cal. Wanted to ask about Brian. He used to live here, right?
That's his suit.
His suit?
Hanging on the door. This is his room.
We're having a wake. Here's the smokes.
Got a lighter?
Yeah. Don't lose this one.
I didn't lose the... Christ, Sherry, these are menthol.
I like menthol.
No, I don't.
Yeah, well, Brian didn't buy them for you, did he?
What division you guys from?
Division? Well...
We're from the Star. You cover crime long enough, you start to smell like a cop.
Yeah, I can buy that. What do you want to know?
Well, for starters, when was the last time you saw Brian?
Night he died. Downstairs in the bar, about 11.
We came up. I had some rye up here, you know? Love light started to shine.
Oh, yeah, like a candle in a high wind.
You weren't complaining. Anyway, we never made it back.
You see him talking to Cliff Stark?
Cliff who?
That cop he was ragging.
Oh, that guy. What about it?
Well, we heard the two of them got into a bit of a scrap, and Brian put it to him.
Wouldn't surprise me, but I didn't see it happen.
Me neither.
Because the talk around the paper is maybe Stark didn't like taking a beating and got a couple of friends and took Brian for a very cold walk on water.
Oh, that's crap. This Stark, he's head of the cop union. He's got way too much to lose.
Besides, if you're looking for somebody with a motive to kill Brian, you're barking up the wrong tree.
Got a better idea?
MTL Management Group bought this building a year ago. Got 3 more on either side. Had big plans to give us the boot. But, like Sherry said, Brian loved to scrap.
He was challenging the redevelopment?
The man behind MTL? He's called Mario Torrance.
Brian outmaneuvered him every step of the way.
Yeah, Brian was a genius. But, took on the cops, beat them. Took on the last owners over that brawl with Jimmy, beat them. Been living here free for 5 years.
This Torrance, he didn't reckon on Brian.
Brian Hughes, tenants' rights crusader. That's a new one.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't want to be in a hearing room when he put on that suit. He was a killer.
Did he work with tenants' rights or bread not circuses?
No way. You go to the meetings in the bag, they toss him out.
One guy at BNC, he called Brian a toxic anarchist.
Yeah, that sums it up.
Sounds like you and Brian didn't get on all that well either.
What's that supposed to mean? The guy was looking out for us all.
Sorry.
Torrance posted his eviction notice. Brian appealed. Case comes up next week. We win, Torrance is going to lose a fortune. Let's face it, Mario is mobbed up for sure.
Mobbed up?
You know it. And so he offed Brian, right? You prove that, man, then you done something.
You prove that, maybe we got a chance.
A chance.
Hey, look at us, baby. How you think we're gonna do before a stupid rent committee?
Hey, I can handle it.
Oh, right.
Oh, you stupid. Look, get out of here before I give you...
Before you what, Kenny? You come on. You gonna hit me again?
Yeah.
Come on.
Maybe I will.
Hey, now. Hey!
The hell with you, Kenny!
Now, what can I do for you guys?
Doing some follow-up. Kenny claims your new boss was out to get Brian.
Because of this condo development.
Mario Torrance had Brian off because he was messing up the condo deal?
Kenny says he was mobbed up.
Well, if you consider the provincial cabinet a prime example of organized crime.
I don't follow.
Mario's the East End bagman for the party. Ever since his papa retired. Not that it matters. Given the current Tenant Protection Act, he had nothing to worry about.
Right.
We were wondering about Sherry and Brian, too.
Yeah, what about him?
Just, was there anything special going on between them? Some reason for Kenny to get jealous?
Jealous? Gee, I don't know. Could be. Sherry!
Jimmy! Bring me back a rye, or I'm putting my shirt on.
You see, Sherry's kind of special to us all.
Hi, Cliff.
Charlie, come in. But keep it down, okay? Just got the kids to bed.
Oh, sure.
My wife's staying at her sister's for a bit. This thing with Hughes just pushed things over the top.
I'm sorry to hear it.
My own fault. We had a pretty good time last night. Too good.
Yeah.
Guess I shot my mouth off.
You were pretty talkative.
Not as talkative as Jimmy.
He called?
Soon as he walked in his front door. Should have known better than to trust him. Guy's got a bit of a problem with John Barleycorn himself, eh?
Yeah. Loose lips sink ships. We gotta know the truth about the night Hughes died, Cliff.
You already know what I know.
Did anybody see the fight?
You tell me.
Not as far as we know.
Well, then you know the drill. It didn't happen.
Except Brian came back into the bar bragging about it.
About what?
Putting the boots to you.
He put the boots to me. He didn't do much of a job, did he?
No, I don't need convincing, Cliff, but you've got to know Internal Affairs is coming for a visit.
Jimmy says Hughes left the bar about midnight. Turns out I have an alibi.
Anybody I know?
You got a cynical disposition, Charlie. Very cynical. There's one of those new stoplight photo enforcement cameras up there on Steele's. My route home. So I phoned one of the boys, told him the problem, and these came by courier a couple of hours ago. Pictures of my car going through 2 intersections headed north between midnight and 1 a.m. So, I got my alibi.
Then why the hell haven't you told anybody?
Well, I got this great big hammer. I'm just waiting for the chief to stick his head out of the gopher hole.
And wasting everybody else's time.
I'm covering my ass.
Or interfering in a murder investigation.
What investigation? Getting me drunk enough to spill my guts isn't what I'd call an investigation. Besides, you're working for the chief.
Look, this isn't about your little feud with the chief. Not for me. It's about a dead man on a beach. You know, most cases we got maybe a week before the trail goes cold.
Yeah?
Every hour we waste on you puts whoever did it that much further away from justice.
Look, all I'm saying is I didn't do it.
Fine, help us find out who did. Now, what happened?
Okay. Like I said, the wife and I haven't been doing too well. This job, it never stops, and mostly it's about bad things happening to good cops. I don't sleep, and then I get snappy around the house. Take a few drinks to calm myself down, she starts nagging about that. The way I cope is, I get out and I drive. That night, it's cold. Roads are slippery, but what the hell? The heater's on, I got some jazz in the tape deck. Haven't been in the embassy in 8 years, but I decide to go in and have a quick beer.
For old time's sake?
You got it. Place has changed some, but Jimmy's still behind the bar. We get to talking. It's good. Mellow, you know? I start to loosen up a bit. And then Hughes comes staggering in with this dye job.
Sherry?
Yeah, that's what he called her. Anyway, I don't even recognize him at first. He's bloated out. But his eyes, flicking around like a snake looking for supper, they were the same. Anyway, he sees me, and that's that. He starts in. Hey, you want to take me for another walk on the water, Cliffy?
I hate it when they don't show respect.
Guy like that, he's below contempt. I ignored him.
That got under his skin.
You know it. I finish my beer, say goodnight to Jimmy, and go. I'm walking up to my car when I hear these footsteps coming up fast. It's Hughes. He's yelling about what I said to him in the bar. The guy's brain is wet. I didn't say nothing to him in the bar. So he takes a swing at me and woof! He hits a patch of ice and he's up in the air and down again flat on his back. And now he's furious, trying to scrabble back up because I'm laughing pretty hard. But he slips again and this time he goes face down into the gutter. Comes up, nose bleeding, big scrape across the side of his face.
And then?
He just kind of slides down onto a snowbank and sits there.
Then what?
I get in my car and drive. Sorry, Charlie. I've been a jerk on this thing. I'll do better next time.
So that's the end of the tale. Cliff Stark is a complicated jerk, but he's no killer.
Well, I gotta admit, I'm relieved. Cliff's old school, but I like him.
Yeah, it was an education watching you two go at it the other night, even if my head's still sore. What's next?
Back to basics. Be like Cliff. Use the force to do the thing it does best. Collect information.
I could recanvass the neighborhood.
No. The legwork's been done. What we need to do is bring it into focus. We need a profile on everything that happened within the 2 miles that separate the Embassy Hotel and Cherry Beach on the night Brian Hughes died. Every ticket they got written, every drunk put in the tank, and what they had to say. Careless observations, deep suspicions, we're going to get it all.
Sounds like a job for a data processor. Yahoo! Back in the saddle again. The camera? They don't catalog every shot, but you can reference by time and you know when somebody jumps a light. I got a citation from Dundas and Jones. A blue Chevy jumped a light at 1:15 a.m. License number AKDF 124. I ran it against the police logs for the night, and I got a stolen car report. License AKDF 124 belonging to, guess who? Bartender Jimmy Morris.
Bingo.
And a recovery report. They found the car abandoned on Lakeshore, 4:50 a.m. The officer ticketed and called the tower. Jimmy reported it missing that night, but the paperwork fouled up. It's still in the compound.
You're a genius.
Well, gifted at least. Where are you going?
Impound yard. Jolene, I'll need a badge.
So, this is it. Jimmy's rust bucket.
Great. Let's see what there is to see. Interesting.
What?
The butts in the ashtray. Menthol with lipstick on the filter.
We've got 2 witnesses put her with the deceased the night he died. We got the car. We've got menthol butts with lipstick traces. We can do the DNA if we have to, but she still won't roll. Not till she talks to Cliff. The press will love it, Cliff.
Yeah? Okay, I'll talk to her.
She's right in there. Let's go.
Hey, how's it going?
I had better days.
Yeah, me too. They said you wanted to talk to me.
Well, you know what Brian was like.
Yeah, I got an inkling. You want to tell me what happened?
We'd been hitting it pretty hard, right? After the run-in with you, Brian comes back to the bar, all cocky as usual, but something happened out there, got under his skin. He kept talking about walking on water, said he could walk on water any time he wanted. Next time he goes to the can, he slips into the storage and he steals Jimmy's keys out of his jacket, right? And I'm not too clear on the next bit, but I remember us speeding down Jones and I tell him to slow down and that.
You ran a red light.
No kidding. And the next thing I remember, we're on Cherry Beach. Geez, it was so cold. It kind of sobered me up some. I yelled for help, I did, but nobody heard.
Why'd you have to yell?
Or Brian. He's running out on the ice. He's jumping. Thought it was the funniest thing ever. Yelling, I'm walking on water. See, I'm walking on water. Then there was a crack. Brian's not jumping around no more. And I said, hey, Brian, you get in here before you get hurt. That was a mistake. Because Brian, he just goes crazy, like he's seeing Cliff here, out there on the ice. He jumps way up. He's laughing like, and he's cursing Cliff, but when he hits the ice this time, he goes through.
What did you do then?
Well, I yelled for help, like I said. And then I tried to go out, but it cracked again. It wasn't my fault. I was scared. I got in the car. I tried to drive, get help, but I don't drive too good. I got up near the lakeshore and I found a phone booth and I called Kenny and he says, "Get the hell out of there. By now Brian's drowned." Drowned. Oh, I should have called the cops, but Kenny told me.
Then what?
I guess I dumped the car. I guess I got a cab. And anyway, somehow as I got back to the bar, and I just dropped Jimmy's keys by the storage and I went upstairs and Kenny was snoring and I just got into bed and I cried till it got late because Brian got drowned. And he was all we had, really.
Except Brian crawled out and froze to death.
And I ran away. Well, what else could I do, eh?
I can see him clawing his way out. Man was a scrapper to the tips of his toes.
I should have known he wouldn't give up.
Easy, Sherry. Nobody can walk on water. Not for long.
You have been listening to A Walk on the Water. This week's episode of our series, The Old Guy by Paul LeDoux. Featured in the cast tonight, Robert Haley as Charlie McMahon, William Colgate as Kirk McPhee, Ryan Rogerson as Malcolm Fieldstein, and Karen Glave as Jolene Gray. With them you also heard Hardy T. Linehan as Cliff Stark, Neil Daynard as Jimmy Morris, Brooke Johnson as Sherry Gladstone, and Jesse Collins as Kenny North. The music was composed and conducted by Milan Kymlick. The recording engineer was Wayne Richards. Sound effects were by Matt Wilcott. Colleen Woods was the associate producer. Our coordinating producer is Barry Morgan. The program was produced and directed in Toronto by Bill Howell, the executive producer of the Mystery Project. I'm Bob Boving, thanking you for listening and inviting your comments. See you next week.